This is Seth David from the world-famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated, bringing to you another special screencast. This time we're taking a look at FreshBooks. Knowledge is power. Make an impact by learning more. Call me right now at 866-945-8070 for information about private trainings. We always record the live session with you so you can review it as often as you like afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another special screencast. Not creenscast, but screencast, brought to you by yours truly, Seth David, of the world-famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated. I'm kind of excited about this because it's been a while since I've done like an actual screencast. I've been doing a lot of Google Hangouts on air and interviewing people, and great information, great stuff. I really enjoy it, but this is like my home. That's kind of like the West Wing over there when I'm doing that stuff. This is what I really enjoy. So I'm excited to kind of be back doing screencasts, the thing I love to do the most, teaching you how to use the tools that make your life better, simpler, easier, more efficient, faster, stronger, more powerful. I'm sort of like your bionic software solution. Better, stronger, faster, more powerful than ever before. Faster than a speeding locomotive. Today we're going to take a look at FreshBooks, and hopefully we won't find that they're experiencing maintenance, which is what I encountered the last time I went to do the screencast. It was kind of late in the evening, so I will give them this. It was a good time to be doing it because it wasn't during like normal business hours, peak hours when everybody needs to get at their accounting information, and they would panic because they can't get at their information that they need. And sure enough, FreshBooks is open for business and available, just as I had hoped. And you're looking at what it looks like when you log in. You can take a look up here in my browser, URL bar screen address thingy. I like address thingy. That sounds like a good technical term for this. And you will see that I have a branded web address, nerdenterprises.freshbooks.com. You can go there, you can log into my account, the password is secret. Try it. Anyway, FreshBooks, best known, mostly known for their invoicing capability. Kind of started out that way as invoicing software. And recently I got this email, actually, to be very specific, Chris Perillo got this email, forwarded it to me, and then I checked my junk folder because I was like, I should have gotten that email. I'm pretty sure I'm on their list, and sure enough I was, and it wound up in junk mail. And so I fixed that. Sorry, Mike McDermott. I fixed it, though. Your mails are now coming to my inbox, I promise. But Mike wrote us, I actually really enjoyed reading this because I always like hearing kind of the backstory, especially when it's a success story like FreshBooks is. You know, in terms of a company, you know, not unlike my own, that started out in a garage and kind of grew from there. I just really never left the garage because I like it there. So, but it's an interesting backstory, and what I really like is that Mike really expresses his commitment here with respect to FreshBooks and the direction they're going in, to sticking with what they know and sticking with what they feel they do well, what they feel they do best, which is focusing on service-based businesses, heavy emphasis on the invoicing. But what also came to light, and what actually, between Chris forwarding me the email and me taking a look on my own at that point at FreshBooks, I realized there's a lot more to it. Years ago I looked at this when it came out, and I said it looks really cool if all I need to be concerned with is invoicing. The problem I had, of course, with it is that, well, certainly as an accounting professional, I had more sophisticated needs. And the only people I really came across originally who I felt might really benefit from a program like FreshBooks is, one example, let's say, would be like your IT consultant with a very simple business, one man or one woman show, you know, just starting out, and just kind of most of their time is spent remotely logging into people's computers and troubleshooting their problems. So heavy on the invoicing for the time on something like that, very light on the expenses. You know, a little bit of overhead, and if they happen to be going and seeing anybody in person, then maybe they're, you know, buying some, you know, parts at Fry's or Best Buy or wherever you get your computer hardware, you know, for the purpose of bringing it there and installing, and they're going to just, you know, invoice the client back for those expenses. So in other words, expenses, not a big emphasis on the expenses with something like this. And so that was really the purpose that I saw, that FreshBooks had. That was the example, and it just wasn't my clients. My clients were all a little more sophisticated than that. Now I see something as I'm looking at it that's a little more sophisticated, and Mike points out, again, it's an interesting story. I'll make this available for those who want to read it if you don't happen to be on their mailing list. But he says right here, FreshBooks is not designed for everyone, nor will it be. They're going to stay focused on service-based businesses. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate a business just staying focused on what you do best and just be the best that you can be at that one thing. Don't try and be all things to all people. I really like that approach. And in any case, they are making some changes. They're putting a little bit more emphasis on the expenses, it looks like. And so it prompted me to go in and take a look at FreshBooks. So let's do that. Let's go in and take a look. When you log in, here's what your home page looks like. Looks like I've got some sample data in here. Now, I obviously am not going to go into everything in this one video. I just want to keep it a short video to give you a quick overview. But rest assured, especially based on the feedback I get, I will certainly be looking at doing more videos, going more in depth into FreshBooks, if the demand proves to be out there from my audience, you watching this. If you want more on FreshBooks, just let me know. Post your comments, post your feedback wherever you see this video. And first of all, I'd love to get your comments and feedbacks on any of my videos, all of my blog posts. So please do that. And then if your comments and feedback suggest that you'd like to see more, then I will definitely do more. I might just do more even if you don't tell me to do more, just because I want to do more. So, FreshBooks, we've got our home page. Within each tab, we've got sort of submenus here: overview, refer FreshBooks, pricing and upgrade, and I can buy stamps. So I'm guessing, and I'm really kind of seeing this mostly for the first time like you are. So when I see this, I wonder, all right, why do I need to buy stamps? But I'm guessing that FreshBooks will let me buy postage so that they can email or snail mail invoices out on my behalf. Now therein is another thing I just probably don't need for myself, because I don't mail any invoices, haven't in years. I had one client who was annoyed with me that I didn't mail invoices. He was a lawyer. He's kind of old school like that. And basically I told him to get over it. I'm emailing my invoices to you. And he learned to live with it, and he got through it with a little bit of pain. So there's your home screen. Since FreshBooks is invoicing software primarily, that's what it's known for, I definitely want to dive into that a little bit. So let's take a look. When I click invoices, I have invoices. It looks like I can set up recurring invoices. I can, looks like, show invoices that I've received payments for. Okay, invite others. Okay, don't want to do that right now. Items, I can set up my item list, much like in QuickBooks, different items. What do I charge for? This is sort of like your product list, right? So even with a service-based business, I have different items. My own business, for example, I have an item for when people download something from my knowledge store. I have an item for when I provide bookkeeping services, CFO consulting services, all that sort of thing. I have different items to describe the different services I offer. So that's obviously what you're going to use this item list for. And if I want to add new, they have a nice big green button here that says new item. Pretty clear, pretty straightforward, not hard to figure out. So I can add a new item here real quick, and let's say I want to do bookkeeping. Just so you can see what it looks like. Description, bookkeeping, services. Okay, unit cost. Let's say I charge $65 an hour for bookkeeping. All right. Quantity, I'm not sure why I would establish a quantity. And this is interesting because my whole impression, and I'm discovering this live right now as I'm recording this, is that they're not doing inventory. They're sticking to service-based businesses, yet here are some inventory-based features. I can track inventory. So maybe they've changed their mind. I'm actually a little confused about that now. I can set up different tax items. So, and we'll see that a little bit later on in a minute. So there's my items. Payments. Payments, new payment. No payments were found, so I can enter a payment from a client. This is where I'd go to do it. So this way I can show invoices as paid. Now what's sort of standing out and glaring at me right now, and I noticed the same thing before I started recording when I started to take a look at the expenses, I can add an expense. And what's cool, what I really like about this is here's where I can set up my taxes, right? Tax 1 and Tax 2. Now I'm going to go back in a minute and see there's got to be a place here where I can define my tax items. But what I really like is I can do recurring expenses and I can assign it to a client. So I can do my job costing here. I mean, this is the crux of job costing right here, is assigning it to a client. I'm assuming adding a category is as simple as just typing in a category that doesn't exist. Let's try it. Direct labor. Okay, over here the amount, $65. Vendor, bookkeeper. Let's see if it'll just let me add that stuff for 1 hour of bookkeeping. Of course, this assumes I'm paying $65 an hour. New client, let's just say, always. Looks like I have to add the clients in the client list. It doesn't look like it's going to let me add it from right here. So let's take that out. Let's add the expense. Okay, so it does let me go and add that category here. So let's go back to categories. And now it's got direct labor in there. So it does let me add the categories from there. What's glaring out at me, though, from this is that I am not able to, the balance sheet is completely absent from this. What do I mean by that? Well, when I enter an expense, I can enter the expense. I can tell you how much the expense was and what category it goes to, and I can even tell you who I paid for the expense. But what I can't tell you is how I paid for the expense. Did it come out of my bank account by a debit card? Was it charged on a credit card? The bank account, the credit card account, those are balance sheet accounts. Those are accounts that would appear on the balance sheet. And I noticed this when I logged in the other day, just to kind of prepare a little bit for doing this very video, that even when I go to look at the reports I can run, there's no balance sheet. I can run a profit and loss. I can do a tax summary. Accounts aging, so to look at my receivables, that's a balance sheet item that's there, but it's specific to the invoices. Of course, this is invoicing software. I can run an expense report, which will show me expenses. I can see what payments I've collected, and there's more invoice-based reports and timesheets reports. I've got time tracking in here, so that's really cool. I can set up tasks. I like this feature that I can start and stop a timer. So again, this is heavily focused on service-based businesses, so that when I am working on somebody, I can be logged into my FreshBooks account. I can start a timer, go to work, and then stop it. Of course, the challenge with this, and this comes up a lot, there's a million task management programs out there that have features like this, and people always raise the question, well, it's not effective because they, if I get a call and I do something else, then that time is still being tracked. Well, obviously, you've got to go and get yourself into the habit of stopping the timer when you allow yourself to be distracted. The other trick is don't let yourself get distracted. Don't answer the phone. Don't respond to emails until you're done with that task. Then stop the timer and then go catch up. Probably a more efficient way of doing things anyway. Okay. Under time tracking, I can generate an invoice. So this is a really cool program. It's a really cool, robust program. But just keep in mind that it's not, like he says in his own email, it's not for everyone, right? If you have, again, I was under the impression if you had any kind of an inventory-based business, this was not going to be for you. It looks like they do have some inventory features in here, but I'm guessing based on his email that that's just not going to be their focus. That they're not going to necessarily go real deep with the inventory related stuff, but it looks like it will get allow you to track inventory. So my friends, I am going to cut this off right about here because I'm about 12 minutes into the recording, and I think that's enough for now. Like I said, I will come back and do more videos on FreshBooks, especially if your comments and feedback that you post below right now suggest that this is something you'd like to see. Then I'll be absolutely and incredibly more than happy to do that for you. I hope that you're having a spectacular day, and I look forward to seeing you around the web.